Okay, so this is about stage 3 or so of my BrewBucket, or the beer fermentation thermostat. And now the problem I was having before was that this peltier that I've got here didn't seem to be drawing enough power. At least the top here was only getting up to around 25 degrees, and the bottom underneath didn't seem to be getting cold enough, so not enough heat transfer. So what I've done to try and address that is, well, firstly you can see I've put a whole lot of insulation around the peltier down there on the bottom. So I've just used some foam wrap and sort of glued that around and sort of wedged it in there, so it's all fully enclosed in foam. So that's trying to keep the hot air that's coming off the top here from getting down into the cold side, and so the heat, to try and keep that difference there. The other thing that I've done is I've tidied up this wiring loom that's coming from my old ATX power supply, and so you can see I've got that all tidied up, and I've also got a couple of load resistors there, so that's giving it about a 5-watt load on the 3-volt line. So what I've heard is that oh no, that's the 5-volt line, sorry, that red one. Yeah, so what I've heard is that, so yeah, yellow is 12 volts, red is 5 volts, and orange is 3.3 volts. So what I've heard is that if you put a load on the 5-volt line, that will make some of these ATX power supplies a bit more comfortable. Some of them, apparently, if you switch them on, they've got like a minimum load that they'll expect, and if you don't do that, then it'll actually strain the power supply. Or you might hear actually some noise coming from it due to the differences that you've got in the load coming on the, say, the 12-volt line and the 5-volt line. So in theory that's supposed to, well, potentially could solve a problem with some ATX power supplies by putting a load resistor on there. In this case it doesn't seem to have made any difference. This peltier is still only getting a little bit warm, and I've got the box here logging temperatures, and if you look at the top here you see that the top one, it's just flicked over to status report. So I can introduce to you the bucket itself. So this is, you can just see the fermenter just poking out the top here. That's the little airlock coming out. All this mess here is my water tubes which are going through, and that's so that I can pump cold water, the water coming up here through the peltier, and have the cold water come back into the bucket and to surround the fermenter, and that's all nicely insulated with bubble wrap. And if we look at the readout on the top, you'll see that the peltier has actually been running all day, and we've got a rather unimpressive 12.5 degrees as the beer temperature, while the ambient temperature is around 14 or 15 degrees. Yeah, that was 14.9. It's just showing there. So, well, yeah, there we go. Okay, you can see it now. Yeah, so it's only about a 2-degree difference from the ambient temperature. So it's doing something, but it's a bit underwhelming. And on here I've got my heater plugged in, so that's going through to an aquarium heater that's resting in the water within the bucket here that's surrounding the fermenter. So the heating is working perfectly actually, but the cooling is still got some bugs to, well, some kinks to work out. And here, oh, that's a little Wi-Fi dongle. That's the ESP8266, which is logging the temperature through to an App Engine application I've written. I might show that later. So yeah, anyway, still it's working now, and I've actually successfully made a brew actually. So I'll be trying to keg that later. Yeah, still a few things to work out, but at least for ales this is working well, since it only needs to get down to around 18 degrees. Between 15 to 18 degrees is okay for an ale. So that's fine, I can control that. So cool. Anyway, so next step, I think I might try a bigger peltier, see if I can get the cooling, and then maybe I'll try a lager or something. So yeah.